All right, folks. Well, Maksim Outdoors has officially made it back out to eastern Pennsylvania. As you can see, a beautiful spring day. This is actually the first spring hike of the year, and we are currently here in Bucks County. And I have my special guest with me once again this week. Sam's here. We made the nearly 5-hour drive from western Pennsylvania here to Bucks County. So we're just about a half an hour north of Philadelphia and a few miles west of New Jersey. And as you probably already seen, we are here in Nockamixon State Park, my 26th state park in my series, in case you're keeping track. And today we will be hiking the old mill trail here, a little over 5 miles. We'll be seeing some really cool views of Lake Nockamixon, seeing some cool history, some old ruins, and maybe even some old dams along the way. And we'll also be talking a little bit about the dark history of this area. Over 250 farms were destroyed, people were displaced, a lot of fights and arguments all about this state park happened way back in the 60s and 70s. So we're gonna hit the trail here and I'll tell you a little bit more about it along the way. So let's get hiking. What do you say? All right, well, here's a pretty cool find. We took a little spur trail off of the old mill trail and came upon this giant rock pile, headed down a little bit, and this water seemingly comes out of nowhere. I'm not sure if this is some sort of natural spring or what, but as you can see, the water is just crystal clear and looks extremely healthy. So a little update on the trail. Our next stop should be some ruins of an old dam downstream from here, and we'll keep going from there. We did run into some old ruins already, just some old rock walls and rock piles, probably from old farms within the area. And if we pan over, you can see Sam there. She's my navigator today. She's in charge of the map. And if you're curious why we are here in Bucks County, basically wanted to save some of the closer state parks in western Pennsylvania for a rainy day, and we figured why not take a little road trip out here to basically Philly. And we will be heading to Ralph Stover State Park as well in this trip. So if you're not subscribed already, maybe you're new to this channel, maybe you just found this channel by this video, hit that subscribe button so you're not missing anything. So like I said, we're gonna keep heading down the trail and hike on down to the old mill here. All right, we'll see you there. Just a quick look here at one of the cooler ruins that we stumbled upon today. You can see right in front of me here an old dam. This probably would have been part of a mill back in the 1700s, maybe 1800s, holding back this old creek. But yeah, I just wanted to show you another view of some cool ruins. And one other thing I should mention is this area is just full of trails. Pretty much everywhere you look where I'm standing, there's a trail that runs this way, a trail that crosses this river here, or creek. Some steps going down across here. There's a trail down below me, there's a trail down there, and a trail that heads up here. So it is a little bit confusing. As always, you know, I always use obvious markers like streams and mountains and whatnot. So we're just going to keep following the stream, and that should eventually take us to the old dam. So Sam's doing a great job reading the map. And in case you ever wanted to see, here is Sam at a dam.
And you just laugh at me. I'm just going to use this for future laughing times.
All right, folks, well, as you can see, we have officially made it here to Nockamixon Lake, the creek that we've been following here for about a quarter of a mile. Ultimately ends up draining into one of the largest lakes here in the entire state of Pennsylvania, believe it or not. And if we turn around here, you can see where this trail gets its name. So we're obviously on the old mill trail, and as you can see in front of me here is an old millstone that would have grinded up grain and oats back in the day, back in the 1800s, 1900s. And nothing really is left here to this day. You can see some of the old remnants of the dam, the Stover Mill. A little bit of information about it that you can pause and read. But this mill was actually in operation up until 1940, believe it or not, until it was ripped down by the state in 1960. So that gets to the part about the dark history of this park that we'll be talking a little bit more about. But I'll show you the dam here. And here we are where the Stover Mill would have sat until up to 1960, unfortunately. Kind of a shame that they had to rip it down. You know, we have like McConnell's Mill back in western Pennsylvania that's still standing to this day. But yeah, you know, things do happen. It did fall apart, so maybe it was just too much money to repair. But this is all that's left to this day. You can see the old dam wall and a man-made waterfall, but this would have all been a lake, as you can imagine. Back up until 1960, the Stovers would have gotten grain and oats from the surrounding area, processed them, and then probably shipped them down to towns like Philadelphia, Quakertown, and probably many more. But this is all that's left to this day. But yeah, we're going to be crossing here and heading along the old mill trail. So I'm sure we're going to see more and more ruins throughout the day, but this is probably going to be the most prominent that we'll see throughout the day. So as you can see, Sam's hanging out. Lake Nockamixon, beautiful spring day. So yeah, we're gonna continue on here along the old mill trail. Well, we officially made it across the old waterfall slash dam, and a pretty unique area here to hike across. To my left is the old dam foundation, dam ruins, whatever you want to call it, and to my right, the old Stover Lake or pond or whatever you want to call it. We're going to keep heading deeper into the forest here on this beautiful spring day, and I will be sure to show you any other interesting ruins along the way here. Yeah, so according to the map, you have to cross where the old mill was, and it being spring, you wouldn't think it would be too overgrown back here, right here in March. But as you can see, we're basically bushwhacking through this section of trail. No blazes at all. Hey, but we're being pathfinders today, I guess, and this will probably be the last time Sam ever hikes with me. But I did a little scouting mission a couple minutes ago and did see a blaze just up ahead here. So I'm thinking maybe they had a little microburst or something back here and it downed a bunch of trees, and they just decided to not maintain this. But yeah, maybe if you come to Nockamixon to do the old mill trail, maybe skip this section. But you can see a blaze up ahead here. We're gonna make our way through all these down trees, and hopefully that'll be the worst part of the day. I seem to say that a lot on this channel, so we'll see what happens. Well, as you can see on our right, got some remnants of the past here. An old rock wall that probably a farmer built back in the day, way before this was a state park. From what I read, I guess farmers would come out here with their tillers to till up the land, and whenever they would hit a rock or a boulder, they would stack it up and make a nice wall out of it. So this was probably used as farmland back in the 1800s, probably before that, 1700s. And this is probably like the third or fourth one of these walls that we found. Relatively larger boulders than what you generally see. But yeah, pretty cool nonetheless. So all kinds of ruins and forgotten history here along the old mill trail. And after we bushwhacked through that one section, the trail winded up again. This is a multi-use trail, so horses use this trail, so watch your step. That's all I'll say about that. And yeah, we're gonna keep heading further into the forest, and eventually we'll be down along the banks of Lake Nockamixon once again. So stay tuned for that. All right, folks, well, once again we are back along the shores of beautiful Lake Nockamixon, and if you were here to hear about the dark history of this state park, here we go. So we have to go back to the 50s and talk about a man that we mentioned a few other times on this channel, a man by the name of Maurice Goddard. A lot of people think he was one of the most influential environmentalists in Pennsylvania. His life goal, his ambition, was for every Pennsylvanian to be within 25 miles of a state park. And he set his sights upon this valley back in the 50s. He thought it would be a great place for a state park since it was relatively close to Philadelphia. So his idea was to dam this Tohickon Creek, which would have ran through this valley, and name this area Tohickon State Park, which now ultimately is Nockamixon State Park. Well, the only problem with that is in this valley resided over 200 people. There was 290 farms, schools, general stores, grist mills, you name it, all throughout this valley. The village of Tohickon was where this lake is now located. There was an Indian cave that had Indian artifacts, as well as a pretty unique looking cobblestone bridge that was built in the center of town that I'll show you a picture of. And the town was outraged. They petitioned, they fought. Over 800 folks showed up to a local high school and demanded that the state, you know, basically drop the idea of making a state park here. Well, as you can guess, they ultimately failed. And to make matters worse, they built a local prison camp in this very state park. And this wasn't back in the 20s or the early 1900s like it sounds. This was back in the 70s. They built a little prison camp in town and brought in local prisoners to head into this valley here and basically rip apart any remaining farms, houses, schools, so that there will be no water hazard once this dam was complete and this lake was filled up. So kind of a slap in the face. You know, I did read that there were multiple suicides after people losing their house, sadly. You know, as you can imagine, some of these farms were probably handed down from generation to generation, family to family. And then the state of Pennsylvania basically came in and said, hey, you know, go pound salt. We're building a state park. There's nothing you can do. Eminent domain. So that is the dark history here of Nockamixon State Park that not a lot of folks seem to know about. So very interesting. This isn't the only case of the state coming in and flooding out of town, but yeah, sad for sure. And it kind of makes you think twice about these state parks sometimes. You know, is Maurice Goddard really as good as everybody says he was? I mean, he seemed like he ruined quite a few families' lives out there. But yeah, we'll take one last look, looking out upon Lake Nockamixon here. Yeah, this is nice. All right, folks. Well, we have about 3 miles under our belt so far today. Just a little over halfway done. Decided to take a little detour off the old mill trail, and we are here at this little viewpoint of Nockamixon Lake here. And just a couple little factoids about the state park that I didn't mention already. This park was established back in 1973 thanks to Maurice Goddard. We talked a little bit about him earlier. And one of the larger state parks that we've tackled so far on this channel, a little over 5,000 acres. So some really nice views here of Nockamixon Lake. Hard to believe that there is a village somewhere underneath all this water. The deepest part of this lake is over 90 feet, believe it or not. So far the trail has been relatively good, a little bit muddy here and there, but really well marked, and couldn't really ask for a better day than this. A cloudless spring day here in late March. So what are you feeling about today so far?
It's been a good day. Really muddy though.
Yeah, as you can see, you want to make sure you have the proper footwear on because it did get pretty muddy today.
Yeah, so I'm ready to take a quick break and then keep on heading up back to the car.
So yeah, we're gonna hit the trail. We got about 2 miles left, and we rented a cabin for the weekend, so that will be our next stop. So yeah, we'll show you any other cool sights along the way. Oh, I did want to say as well, there's a ton of wildflowers out, so you'll see those as well throughout the video. So all right. Alrighty folks, well, we are winding down here. As you can see, we've made it back here to what I'm calling Stover Creek. We have surpassed the 6 mile mark for the day here. One more stream crossing. As you can tell, Sam's rearing to go here. So we're just about a stone's throw away from the truck. So figured a perfect time to wrap up this video. So hopefully you all enjoyed Nockamixon State Park here in Bucks County. And if you like this park, if you enjoy it, I'll be coming out with at least one more video from the state park probably next week. So if you aren't already subscribed, hit that button so you don't miss a thing. And as always, if you can, like the video, helps push the video algorithm wise. Leave me a comment, tell me your favorite state park, national park, your dog's name, yada yada yada. And check me out over on Instagram and Facebook as well for some sneak peeks at future hikes. All right, signing out from state park number 26. This is probably the 26th time I've filmed this outro, so that's gonna end it. All right, see you guys next week.